the execution of 3 unarmed civilians in Kajo-Keji County has caused an uproar in the country, but also in the diaspora. Join us as we discuss this and more only on Beyond the Headlines. We are joined in the program by board members of the Kuku community of North America. They include Mr. Goyo Loponi, Dr. Henry Lejukole, and Dr. Oliver Mogga.
My name is Nelson Goyo Loponi, and I am the the chairman of the Kuku community in North America. And I've been here for the last 23 years now.
Yes, thank you, Eunice. My name is Henry Lejukole, and I am the vice chairman of the board of directors of the Kuku community of North America.
Yes, okay. Thank you for inviting us to this interview. My name is Oliver Mogga. I'm a member of the Kuku community in North America. I'm also in the board of directors of this organization.
Yes, thank you all for coming on Beyond the Headlines. I'll go ahead and start by asking the chairman of the Kuku community, Mr. Goyo Loponi, the first question. As a board member of the Kuku community of North America, you released a press statement condemning the killing of 3 unarmed civilians massacred on May 26, 2020 in Kiriboma are Justin Lisok Numeresuk, 16 years old, Xavier Yamba Numeresuk, 18 years old, and Taka Yika Wani, 38 years old, relative of the deceased brothers. What led to the killings of these unarmed civilians?
Well, as you know, we are all outside the country. We were completely shocked of the incidents, what that took place there. But from the information that we got on the ground, that there was a soldier that was killed. I don't know how he died, but these young people that ended up dead, they were digging in the area, and one day they just, as they were moving, I think, trying to clear up, they discovered a dead body of the soldier. As being a good citizen, they called their leaders, and then the leader then called the police. The police came and discovered that that dead body was that of a soldier that was missing. And then they then, instead of the police coming to try to investigate, they said, no, this is beyond, that was beyond them. So they went to the army. So the army came straight away and they got those young people from their home. Then they said, we heard that there's somebody died here. Do you know where they were? And then they said, yeah, we were digging here. We also discovered that there was a dead body nearby. So they said, okay, can you escort us there? So the young people then escorted them there. When the soldiers got there, immediately when they saw the dead body, it was one of their soldiers, they opened fire and they killed the 3 young men there then. And that is the message, that's the information that we got.
Dr. Lejukole, why were the 3 men killed without proper investigation taking place?
Well, it is an indication of a system that is not working, obviously. Being out here in the West, we know how these things are handled. You report to the police, they come in and investigate. Even if the person is a military personnel, I mean, they are still, that situation is handled by law enforcement people, usually. And obviously, from what you just heard from the chairman, the army had somebody missing who mysteriously died or was killed by who nobody knows. And these people did the right thing to just report it. But the way the situation was handled was that I think first the police failed in their duty. They probably don't know how to handle it. And instead of being the one taking over the investigation, they decided to report it to the army. But we also understand, as we all know, our country is under a situation of insecurity, where the army is regarded as paramount. I mean, they intimidate everybody, literally. So I suspect that the police were just afraid that they would not want to meddle with this situation and report it to the army. And instead of the army appreciating that they got the information and trying to investigate in some way, I mean, there is also military intelligence, as we know, who investigate things. Just being who they are, thinking that the law is them, they decided to summarily execute these people. And so that's how the event went, as far as I know. So to me, it's an indication of a poor system, both in the police, in the way they conduct business, and the military as well, because things shouldn't have gone this way.
Mm-hmm. In your statement, you alleged that the SSPDF has been involved in gross human rights violations in Kajo-Keji County. This is part of the statement that was released by the Kuku community of North America. What are some of the violations that they have allegedly carried out within the county? And this question is addressed to you, Dr. Mogga.
Well, there has been isolated killings in Kajo-Keji for a very long time. As we did indicate in our press release, there was one soldier that was actually killed in Ngepo Payam, killed by the South Sudan People's Defense Forces. And honestly, this person was also killed unarmed. He was actually sleeping. And then he was dragged out of his house together with his wife and just killed, shot in front of the wife. And then the very soldier who actually killed this person is someone that is actually known. Right now, he's actually in the barracks, in the army barracks, and nothing has been done to him. And even the commander of the barracks, John Camilo, he knows this person personally, and nothing has been done to him. And then, in fact, if we go back, I think the beginning of violence in Kajo-Keji, there was even a situation where there's a place called Mandikolo in Kajo-Keji. 7 people were murdered there. And that time, when there was an outcry in Kajo-Keji about the death of those 7 people, including someone actually who had a person of disability was killed, that, he was among the 7 people that were killed. So when there was an outcry about this situation, the same commander in Kajo-Keji basically said, "Why are you crying? There are only 7 people that got killed." Now, let me ask you, how many people have to be killed? Then you have to say that enough is enough. 1 life alone is a lot for a community.
And just to add to what Oliver said, I think there was a looting done at the church in Kajo-Keji. And clearly it was known that it is the military that looted the church. The army command was notified, and then they just said this was some of the errant soldiers, and that's what happened. And that was the end of the story. So there have been so many incidences of intimidating the people and things like that that have happened among the citizens in Kajo-Keji.
As board members of the Kuku community and the people of Kajo-Keji, you're calling for the removal of Colonel John Camilo, the current military commander in Kajo-Keji County, and his 4 deputies, and replace them immediately with officers and men from Kajo-Keji County or other parts of Equatoria. They have failed to prevent the rank and file under their command from killing unarmed civilians. We believe this change will protect witnesses and relatives of murdered civilians from intimidation and reprisal by SSPDF top brass in Kajo-Keji County. You're also urging the transfer of military units in Kajo-Keji County, as well as the removal of the commanding officers of the SSPDF at the South Sudan-Uganda border post at Jale. If these removals or transfers are not carried out, what impact will it have on the people of Kajo-Keji County? Also, in the same regard, if they are removed, what do you hope this will resolve? And either one of you could answer.
Well, I think we are in a situation where a peace agreement is under implementation, and the hope of the people was that security would be normalized. In fact, the very fundamental thing that people hope out of the situation is that human security would be offered, because that's the #1 goal, to allow people to come back home and resettle and to resume their lives. But when you see incidences of people being murdered when they have come back from the refugee camps, I think that sends the opposite signal. It's an indication that the country is uninhabitable, that the security is not very good. And when this happens under the very people that are supposed to protect the civilians, you know the message that it sends. So this guy, the colonel in Kajo-Keji, has been there for a very long time. In fact, since before the outbreak of the war until now. So many of these atrocities happen under his watch. And it doesn't require somebody super intelligent to know that he is derelict of his duty for soldiers under his command to carry such kind of murder of innocent civilians. But he's not the only one, because the security of the county is under a committee. There is a security committee that not only includes the commander of the local military force there, it includes the commissioner, who for goodness sake is the son of Kajo-Keji. And if he is not the eye and ear and is not able to speak for his people, I think he has failed. And as Kuku people and as people of Kajo-Keji, we don't deserve such a person as a leader. And we would say it uncategorically. He needs to be removed, along with this military commander and the other members of the security committee who are not doing their duty. Because the reason that there's a committee is so that there are checks and balances. I mean, the military will always do what the military do, the police will do what they do, the other security organs, but there ought to be people that ensures that this system works in the interest of the people. So what I can tell you is that it has created a big mistrust between these security organs and the people of Kajo-Keji, and the same would be true in other places of Southern Sudan as well. It doesn't have to be Kuku or Kajo-Keji people for these incidents to provoke lack of trust. So I can tell you categorically that it has breached the trust of the people with these security organs that are supposed to protect them. And from our perspective, they don't deserve to be there. The people deserve better, and the government had better take action on behalf of the people that they call their citizens. Thank you.
Let me just add a little bit. I think Henry has said it all. We are on the understanding that the army is supposed to protect the people with their properties. And this is the army that is considered to be people's army. Now, if the army are acting like that, how will the army that is foreign to our country act? And this is the question that each and every one of us, whether in the government right now or outside, should ask. And if we ask the right question, we have to get the right answers. If they are behaving like that, how will the foreign army coming to the country invading, how will they behave? Actually, right now, they behave like occupying army. The commander really needs to go because the commander has failed completely. I don't expect the commander in that small area, small place, to let his army go on rampage on their own people. This, I think, as South Sudanese, all of us need to rise against this and say, this must stop. It has to stop. If we really want our people to live in peace, the army should be the first people to show that kind of peace. But you cannot go on rampage and do things like that. And this is not the first time, as I speak, so many had happened. Actually, we're not counting all of them. And I think all of us, South Sudanese, should rise up and say, this has to stop. The government must contain the army.
Let me also add some points that I thought are actually pertinent to this discussion regarding the need to remove the Colonel John Camilo. I think one reason he should also be removed is that there has been an illegal logging in Kajo-Keji. Vehicles, actually trucks coming from Uganda, coming to Kajo-Keji to take timber. So Camilo has been involved in actually protecting this illegal logging. He gives protection to those people. The other thing also is, and I know you probably are familiar with this, there's this issue of the cattle herders that have actually been a problem in Kajo-Keji. They have been raping women. They have been killing individuals in Kajo-Keji. And you know what? These people have been provided protection actually by Camilo himself. So Camilo has actually supervised gross human rights violations in Kajo-Keji, and this is something that we take very serious. And I think it's very important for the international community, for everybody, for every South Sudanese to know that this has been happening under his watch. He's responsible for all the bloodletting in that county. Coming to the commissioner, the commissioner also has been entrusted by the people of Kajo-Keji to the responsibility to actually remove the cattle herders. He has said it consistently that he will do his job, but he has actually failed to make sure that these cattle herders are actually left Kajo-Keji, and then people resume to actually live normal lives, and also to allow actually those who are refugees in Uganda to come back to Kajo-Keji. The other point that I also wanted to mention is that I think recently in Kajo-Keji, there was people of faith came together. They were fasting and they wanted peace to prevail in Kajo-Keji. Camilo attended that event, and he had promised, even the bishops were there, he had promised that there will be no more dying from bullets in Kajo-Keji. But now he actually broke that promise. I want the bishops to know that he lied to them. Now we end up with another killing of those youth in Kiribati.
The governor of Central Equatoria State, Governor Emmanuel Adil Anthony, has established a 5-member security committee to lead an independent investigation into the killing of the 3 civilians in Kajo-Keji. The investigation committee is headed by the State Minister of Peace Building and members of the SSPDF's Directorate of Military Intelligence, National Security, and the National Police. What is your expectations of the findings from the committee?
Yeah, I think that it's difficult to prejudge the committee, but good and bad are judged by results. My understanding, though, is that the security forces do not tend to investigate themselves fairly. I mean, it would be a biased institution. I mean, a biased committee if it is consisting of people that also are colleagues of the people that they're trying to investigate, because it is a system. Formation of committee, we do understand, is a way of barring problems. It's a way of evading actually providing solutions. But I think as the people that are lawful, we're going to judge this by the outcome. We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt, at least from my perspective, and we will see. And a committee must be bound with time in terms of results. It must be bound with being given a time frame where they're expected to deliver on what they're charged, what they are charged with. So whenever that committee is going to start its work, we don't know, but we hope this to happen timely, and we need the results to be published so that the public knows that such and such has been the outcome of this committee work. Adil is our governor, is the governor of Central Equatoria. He's a man from Equatoria. So we hope that he would be a voice for his people and an eye for his people. If this proves to be the opposite, then we will tell on who he is after what we see from these results. But I think the people of South Sudan are all intelligent. We cannot be deceived. And I think we should be very frank when we speak with our public officials. The issue that circumstances will be moved around and try to deceive some people are frankly should be set aside, because we're all smart enough to know how the system works and to know whether the system is actually doing what is expected to do, or it is just going around trying to deceive the people. So from my perspective, we will give them the opportunity to do their work, and we will see. We will see. But this will not be the only committee that has been set up in South Sudan and has come empty-handed. But we wait and see.
Just adding a little bit, Scott, it is good that the governor has taken the step, and that is what is expected. He is a governor of the people of Central Equatoria, and we are watching him, and he is supposed to be serving us, the people in Central Equatoria. He's not supposed to be sitting there and serve, even if his boss, I mean, his workforce is under his boss, but he has to serve us. And we expect him to be really thorough and come up with a result that meets our expectation. And that expectation will be for the good of everybody, the good of all the South Sudanese. If we all come out and say, no, you know what? The government is to serve us, and then that will really help us, all of us. And that is what, in our opinion, is what we need to voice, and we are going to wait from the governor and the results. If the results are not good this time, we are not sitting back. We will talk. We may not have the powers, but we will talk. They will not shut us.
I think what I want to say is that the idea that you have a civilian committee investigating military misconduct, for me, is actually is a big joke, because it's not going to work in South Sudan. You know, as some speakers have already said, committees have been set up in before, but they basically end up in Nowheresville, if I may use that phrase. So I think you judge a tree by its fruits. So let's see what will happen. And my suggestion is that, and I've seen this in other places, usually when things happen, when crimes are committed by a colonel, and under a watch of a colonel, then someone actually higher than him should actually be the one heading that committee to actually investigate the incident. So it's going to be a new phenomenon. So let's see if that works. Then maybe that will set up a new precedence.
Mr. Erasto Kenyi, the commissioner of Kajo-Keji County, reported that 6 soldiers have been detained for their alleged involvement in the execution of the 3 young people. The soldiers will be transported to Juba for further investigation. Is this a positive step forward towards holding the soldiers accountable for their actions, or do you think this is just a minuscule step?
Well, let's say that the arrest is the beginning point. Being transferred to Juba for further investigation, I don't know about that, because that could mean anything. It could mean that these people are being taken away from being held accountable where they committed their crime. But I'm not very confident about how the military system works. But these people, ideally, I guess, should be investigated by the people that are under their commanding officers. And I cannot imagine that they are taking them to Juba to seek the opinion of people that are higher in rank than Camilo and the other senior officers in Kajo-Keji. So I suspect that there's something fishy about this, is to try to get around the system. Because why would they be taken to Juba? What's the purpose? Is that to seek higher authority? Is that to seek better protection? Is that to seek a way of to camouflage the issue? What is it that they're doing? Because these people, they need to be held where they are, put in prison, and Kajo-Keji is part of South Sudan. Let these higher ranking people that they're seeking their attention go to Kajo-Keji. and investigate the issue there. So I suspect that something is very fishy. This is a way of trying to get the people out of the place. And this is already sending the signal that we have a system that tried to cover up for itself. And the citizens of South Sudan ought to know about that.
Yes.
I agree with Henry that it's very suspicious, and it's not the first time that things have happened like that, because in our countries, and particularly generally enough, if you have somebody, even if you commit a serious crime and you have somebody at the top, you run away with that. And that is what is, in our opinion, is happening right now. They are taking these people to Juba because they will be under the cover of their top military. And these military top leaders, I think they should also understand that they are there for us, the people. So if they are covering criminals like that, they go there and put them under their back, and then this thing dies down. Tomorrow another one's happened. Now it is in Kajo-Keji. Tomorrow it will be Nimule. Next day it will be Warap. The other day it will be Malakal. How can we continue like this? How can we continue in this kind of cover up things? And we are killing our own self. One other thing I just wanted to point. When we were fighting the Arab, we all worked together. We fought together. Now we got our independence. We are killing ourselves. The very soldiers that fought for us are now killing us. Does that make sense? What is wrong with us? What is wrong with our government? We all need to ask this question, and we got to get to the answer.
I just wanted to add something. I think what Henry and Nelson have just underscored is actually in line with, remember when we released the press release, we characterized the events that have been unfolding in Kajo-Keji as things that have been happening with impunity. So yes, taking these people to Juba doesn't really mean much, because as we said, it's just it's part of the cover up. Now, right now, as we speak, actually, I don't believe that the problem is actually being solved right now, because what is actually the latest that we've been received is that some of the soldiers from the barracks are actually right now going back to those villages, and they're hunting down on some individuals in Kajo-Keji that they believe may have some information that might be used against the soldiers. So those guys are actually right now they're in hiding. They're being pursued. So how do we talk about, these people who have committed these heinous crimes are being tried, while at the same time, they're also actually trying to commit more murders because they want to intimidate anybody that is suspected to be a potential witness.
According to Human Rights Watch, an institution that spotlights abuses globally, it issued a statement on the Kajo-Keji incident in which it read, "State and military authorities have promised to investigate the killings, but their record casts serious doubt on whether their investigation will be credible. On March 7, a military officer summarily killed Philip Wani Yabete in Kansuk, Kajo-Keji, allegedly in connection with burning of logging trucks by unknown people. An investigation was allegedly opened, but nothing is known about it." As a board members of the Kajo-Keji community of North America, you have proposed the establishment of a United Nations mission in South Sudan post in Kajo-Keji County to foster peace and stability within the county. Has the board gone ahead and made this proposal known to UNMISS?
What we actually got out was a press release. We didn't send it to specific individuals in the system or with UNMISS itself. I think we are voicing it as the opinion of the people and that it would be heard by everybody. We don't know what the UNMISS people will think or whether they can actually do that or they can be allowed to do that. We do know that when the UNIMIS tried to establish a post in Eastern Equatoria following the incidences there, they were actually prevented from doing so. So I think what we're sending out is a general message to the system. If they do want to protect people, I think that the government can allow them. But if they don't want to, it's obviously out of our purview as individuals. But our call for the UNIMIS is the fact that they are a foreign force that might also be able to provide training if they're called upon. Clearly from the beginning, when you ask the question on whether this was handled rightly, we think the police were derelict of their duty. They probably don't know what to do. They probably were not well trained. The same could be true for the military. I mean, these were most of them guerrilla forces that never underwent any training in the law and execution of the law. So our thinking is that the UNIMIS would be able to provide the right training for the police and the military if needed be, and they would also provide oversight. But I think we leave that to the government. We leave it to the system to see if they can allow it to happen. If we have to follow through by appealing directly to UNIMIS, we can. But we don't know that these things work that way. I mean, the authorities on the ground that relate to this communication between agencies, as well as the UNIMIS is having their own system under the UN. So we do not know, but we will be following up on that issue as well, if need be.
Yes, Mr. Loponi?
Yes, I think that our expression of the establishment of the UN mission in Kajo-Keji is a frustration from us, frustration of the people. We are the people, we are the sons of the local area there. And we are not actually speaking for Kajo-Keji alone. I mean, all the message we're sending is that our government, our army, is supposed to act responsibly. They should know that their role is to protect the civilian, wherever they may be. But this has not happened. We understand that the country has been in war, but you think again, this war is created by ourselves. We created it ourselves. There is no need for us to be fighting. Now, calling for the UN to come to Kajo-Keji is because of the frustration, because nobody is there to protect the people. What else can we do? Our people don't have the arms. Even if they get the arms, we will be fighting our own people. What is the point? And that is the point in Kajo-Keji. People actually don't want to get our arms. They say, we get our arms for what? What are we fighting? Last time when we got our arms, we were fighting foreigners, the Arabs. Now we are all the same. Why do we have to get our arms to fight ourselves? But these very people that we entrust to protect us are actually killing us who are not protected. Do you see the point that we are concerned about? I think this is really something that all people across the country in South Sudan should look at this thing and say, enough is enough, this must stop. If we can do it, there is no need for the union to come to Kajo-Keji. But we have failed. What else can we do? What is the alternative?
Yes, Dr. Mogga?
Yes, and so I think the need for UNIMIS post in Kajo-Keji is necessitated by the fact that the people of Kajo-Keji have been subjected to killings from different directions. On the one hand, you actually have officially South Sudan People's Defense Forces coming to kill people in the villages. On the other hand, then you have these cattle herders who carry sophisticated military weapons. And our understanding is that civilians are not supposed to be having those kind of weapons. And the question that we actually are trying to ask, why are certain particular groups in South Sudan, civilians, are allowed to carry weapons, and then others are being told, no, you cannot, you cannot protect yourself. So you can imagine, like even Eunice, you live here in the United States, If someone comes to your house, there's no law that says you cannot protect yourself in your house, okay? But in Kajo-Keji, these people, they come and then they just murder you in your own house, and you're not supposed to fight back. When you do, then you will be called other names, okay? So that's why we need UNAMIS to be in Kajo-Keji as, as an alternative means to provide protection if the very people that South Sudan entrusted the security to cannot protect them. So we need an alternative method to do that.
My last question to you all is in relations to the military system in Kajo-Keji. You mentioned that, Dr. Lejukole, that the military commander in Kajo-Keji, Colonel John Camilo, has been in Kajo-Keji for an extensive amount of years. And this issue of instability has been under his watch and nothing has been done. And now we have the killing of civilians after civilians with impunity. To you all, what is the expectations once the outcomes come out from the investigation that anything will be implemented out of it? Because there seems to be a lack of will to go ahead and follow through whatever investigations are carried out within the country, because the community seems to be in a somewhat helpless position.
Yes. Well, I think in the military, there is usually a pattern of transferring soldiers from one location to another. That normally happens. If somebody is being kept in the same location for a very long time, and that person is committing crimes, is supervising, or they're happening under his watch, there has to be nefarious reasons to keep him in that area. This would be my reading. And therefore, the question by the people of Kajo-Keji is, why is Camilo being kept there for all this long? Is it because he's doing an excellent job, or because there's something happening? Is it because the logging of timber in Kajo-Keji is benefiting some people within the system and he's there to supervise it, or what is happening? Is it because he's liaising with other nefarious people around who are actually, carrying out an agenda that is to their interest and not the interest of the people of the area? What is happening? What are the reasons? Why is he being kept there for all this time? So we expect that the call is not beyond reasonable, because if he has been there for this long, then he ought to be transferred, and let other people also let him go prove himself elsewhere. His toughness or whatever it is that is excellent on, because I don't think it is necessarily only suitable for Kajo-Keji or the people of Kajo-Keji. Our expectation is that if the leadership in these institutions are changed, then there will be other people who will approach the problems in a different way. There will be leaders that will try to cultivate relationship with the people, to try to, make sure that there is the rule of law is actually being implemented, and that they're supervising it because they're supposed to be part of that system. And that is the reason why we're calling for this to happen. Somebody commits mistakes, he commits crimes, or he supervises them, or he is in authority. That person ought to be held responsible. And so our expectation is that this kind of changes in leadership should be very normal, whether it is in the leader of the local army or the police or the other organized forces. When there's an outcry from the people, it must be taken very seriously, because their mandate is to deal with people. When you ignore the voice of the people, then it means that you're for something else. You're for something else. And therefore, we are appealing to the leaders of Southern Sudan, for goodness sake, because the military command goes to the top. So this goes to the top leadership of the SSPDF, to the chief of staff. He ought to listen to the people. We want to make sure that there is equal treatment under the law in Southern Sudan. I think what the people of South Sudan are crying for is equality. And equality means people must be subjected to the law equally, all right? And if Camilo has not done anything wrong, or these leaders in Kajo-Keji, well, take them elsewhere and let us prove them. Let us prove them. But otherwise, it's not out of expectation that once the people cry out, the government is supposed to take their cry very seriously and respond to it by doing the things that the people are asking for, because it is a system that's supposed to work for all of us. And the positions being held by these people are not only permanently built or designed for them. Leaders get changed, leaders come and go, and we expect that to be the case. And we hope for the best out of the situation. Once a change is done, you hope that it's a change for the better. If things prove the opposite, then we will judge things at that point in time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Mr. Loponi.
Yeah, I think Henry has said everything that I wanted to say. And I really think that Camilo is a commander of the military. He has failed to do the role that he's supposed to do in Kajo-Keji. I don't know why he chose to go that way. And we believe that maybe by taking him to another place, he might come and discover how he did it wrong in Kajo-Keji. Because we are outside observers, we are looking at him from far, but he from inside might not know that he's actually doing wrong thing. And we are asking that it is time for him to go. And actually it's not him. We really think that the composition of the army in Kajo-Keji is bad. It is one-sided. If we want to build a nation, you need to have the people in that area, the army in that area, to also have the indigenous people there in the army. That builds confidence. You know, if it was like that, this killing would not have happened, because somebody will say, no, don't do that. Don't do it. That's not the right thing to do. But because it is one-sided, they just did whatever they want to. Is this the nation we want to build? Is this the thing that we really want to do? Are the leaders really asking themselves the right questions? We have been in war for ourselves almost 15 years, and nobody can figure out why. Is this something that they even a primary school student can figure out and say, you know what? I think we are doing it wrong. I think this is the time that all of us should join hands, join ideas, and say enough is enough. Enough is enough. If the government cannot do that, the government should hand over to the other. They are not the only people. There are other people who can do it for our people. South Sudanese. Why is that everything is handed to other people and they do it wrongly?
Thank you. Dr. Mogga?
Yes, I think I will just echo what my colleagues have eloquently stated. For me, I think I'm going to say that Camilo must go. He has allowed his forces to roam the villages in Kajo-Keji whenever they want, at night, during the day. They even they've gone to churches while people are praying. Can you imagine? People are peacefully praying, and then they get attacked within the church. They loot people. So given all these things, he must go. He's no longer wanted. And as many have also said, he has been there for too long. And he has, because he has been there for too long, he's even meddling with activities in villages. So can you ever imagine, I mean, have you ever seen a top military leader, colonel, engaging in affairs in the village? He's supposed to be, we always say that the army must be in the barracks and their job is to protect the country against foreign invasion. Policing should be left to the police, but he has allowed his soldiers basically to go and commit all these crimes. So he must go.
Yes, we've been joined on the program by Mr. Goyo Loponi, the chairman of the Kuku community of North America, alongside Dr. Henry Lejukole, the deputy chairman, and Dr. Oliver Mogga, board member of the Kuku community of North America. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you, Eunice, for having us.
Yeah, Thank you.
Really, really appreciate it.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page at Sunrise Media.